There are three important parts of an industry resume bullet point. So I'm going to take some time to explain those. And this is critical because a lot of PhDs think that they need to create a resume for industry positions the same way they create a CV. Many of our associates, one in particular, Aaron, had this same problem. He was uploading several resumes online, not hearing anything back from any of the jobs he posted his resume to. And once he went through his resume and he adjusted it, and specifically adjusted the bullet points and what each of those bullet points included, he started getting in contact with many employers, and he was eventually able to get hired in industry. This is something we see over and over again. If you're hearing nothing back after uploading your resume, you might want to take a hard look at your resume and then make sure that you've trimmed it down to 2 pages, but then take a specific look at the bullet points and how they are being constructed. Altogether, your bullet point should have 3 key parts. The first part is a transferable skill. Transferable skills are very important, much more important than your technical skills when it comes to employers, especially the first pass of people who are going to see your resume, whether they are hiring managers, probably people who don't have PhDs, right? They're going to want to make sure you have transferable skills, so you want to showcase these immediately in your bullet point at the very beginning of each bullet point. Second part is technical experience. Technical experience obviously is important, and you want to tie this in between your transferable skills and the third part, your results. You have to talk about and speak to your results in your resume. Very, very important. So what do I mean by transferable skills? Some examples of transferable skills, and ones maybe you haven't thought about, are your product and market knowledge. You're working in a lab, whether you are a life scientist or an engineer, you're using products. Look around you. It could be a Kaizen kit, it could be a software package, it could be an antibody. Doesn't matter what it is, some company makes that product. And your knowledge of that product, as well as your knowledge of competing products, is very valuable. So that is in itself a transferable skill. Project management skills. Obviously, you're managing a lot of projects if you're getting a PhD. Certainly, you're managing one project, so that's a skill that you have. People management, presentation skills, communication skills, interpersonal skills, these are all transferable skills, and you really need to speak to these. And you want to speak to the specific transferable skills that are required for that position, which will be on the job posting. And if there's no job posting for the job, you should be setting up informational interviews and so forth, but we'll save that for another video. Technical experience, right? So this could be a variety of things. Obviously, any instrumentation you've used, reagents, software, your experiments in general, collaborations, methodologies, even conferences. Talk about these, right? So mention a transferable skill, and then sandwich in between your transferable skill and your result, your technical experience. But always end with a result, a hard result. And this is something that a lot of PhDs really struggle with. They say, well, I don't have any results other than my PhD or publications. But you do, of course, and publications would be one. In a bullet point, especially in your professional summary at the top of your resume, you can add a bullet point of how many publications you've had. Maybe you mention the name of your best publication or the journal that it's in. Also, grant funding. If you're in a lab that's functioning, there's probably a grant tied to it. If you have any data that's contributed to that grant, you can mention the amount of grant funding your lab has achieved. That's a result. Systems. Think in terms of systems. Businesses rely on systems, right? So if you've optimized a system or created a new system, right? And a system could be an experimental procedure, right? A methodology. Those are results. Discoveries in general, right? You're in the lab discovering stuff. Discoveries are a result. And then, partnerships, and this goes along with collaborations. You just have to use the right transition language to identify what your results are. This could be using the phrase as demonstrated by, as evidenced by, resulting in, or leading to, right? Those 4 right there are very, very important transitional phrases to include in your industry resume bullet points. So let's bring some of these together. Let's say we want to bring together project management, and we'll bring together, right, we'll talk about maybe some methodologies, and we'll talk about some grant funding, and I think I might have included a few other things there, but how would you bring these 3 things together? Because remember, you want a transferable skill, technical experience, and a result in every single bullet point in your resume. Because more than anything else, when an employer looks at a resume and they're just going to look at it for 5 to 7 seconds on average, you can look up eye tracking studies on this, a very short amount of time. They're going to look just to make sure that your bullet points are constructed the way an industry professional would construct a bullet point, with a heavy bias towards results, right? So it's very important that you construct your bullet points in this way and make them very simple and very results oriented. So how would we bring these together? There's an example here at the bottom. Strong project management skills as evidenced, right? There's that transitional phrase we talked about, as evidenced by 5 interdepartmental collaborations on X, Y, Z disease. A couple of things here. We're using exact numbers. Quantify as many things as you can in each of your bullet points. Very important. Also be specific. Don't be general. So again, strong project management skills as evidenced by 5 interdepartmental collaborations on XYZ disease, leading to the development of 2 new methodologies and $100,000 in grant funding. All right, so again, you can see some of the underlying things here as evidenced by, leading to, those are those transitional phrases that are going to highlight a result. Right? Employers look for those phrases so they can jump to the results. Very important to include them. Don't hide your results. Also, again, quantify, be specific. Don't just say methodology. You want to add, you want to put a name for the methodology. Be specific here. Name the specific disease. Don't just say diseases. This is very important, so hopefully you got something out of this. Importantly, whenever we talk about resumes, we always like to say that your networking is also important, right? Driving a referral, getting a referral directly to a hiring manager or someone else's is much more valuable than just uploading your resume online. So create a proper resume, use these 3 components to create the right bullet points for each resume, but make sure you're networking and make sure you're driving referrals too. Because again, uploading your resume online is not enough. If you want to learn more about creating a job search strategy with the right sequence, more about creating the right resumes, if you want to join a job referral network, make sure you check out the Cheeky Scientist Association. Enrollment is opening soon. We also have a variety of free ebooks on our website at cheekyscientist.com. Thank you.